Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to 999. We're back here, about to make a decision again, and I think we're gonna go with Santa and June, because June seems nice enough. So we'll go with her. Santa and, June, you think you could give me a hand here? The pun was a little too on the nose, but the mood was still grim. Both Santa and June lifted their left hands silently. Really excited. I want to know what's behind, if this man's been blown up or what happened. He verified and she followed suit. And that equals 5, or for a digital root of 5. They fulfilled the conditions. If they were to pull the lever on the side... Are you guys ready? I'm going to open it. Junpei grabbed the lever, looked back over his shoulder. They stiffened and nodded. Junpei nodded back and set his mouth in a grim line. Then he slowly lowered the lever. Let's see what's behind door number 5. There was a metallic groan and the door slid open. A breath of air drifted out of it, carrying a stench that made them nearly gag. Junpei grimaced and put a hand over his mouth. Oh my god! Good God. Lotus and Ace shuddered. Seven grunted. Whoa, that's pretty bad. Even Santa's voice shook. He blew up. It appeared that Santa was right. The hallway on the other side of the door was splattered with chunks of torn flesh and dark red blood. Ah! The shriek echoed across the room. It had come from June. Then her strength left her and she dropped. As Junpei turned to catch her, the door groaned shut. Are they in the door or out of the door? She crumpled to the floor. June, you okay? Junpei dropped to his knees and put his arm around her shoulders. That was when he noticed. Her whole body was feverish. She was radiating intense heat. What the heck? Where'd this fever come from? June didn't answer. Her face looked like wax, and her whole body began to shake. Alright, let's just rest for a minute, okay? You think you can walk? She nodded weakly. Junpei lifted June to her feet and guided her to a nearby chair. Here we go. As gently as he could, he set her down in it. How are you feeling? Are you alright? You only just saw a man blown to literal bits. She nodded, and as she did, a single huge tear rolled down the side of her face. Why? Why did this happen? Her voice cracked, broken by misery and grief, and choked by sobs. Why did this happen? Junpei spun around. Do any of you know what is going on here? Who's Zero? What's this nonnery game? Come on, anybody? Anything? What the heck is going on? What are we doing here? No one spoke. Ace, Snake, Santa, Clover, Seven, and Lotus. They simply stood there, 7 pairs of downcast eyes, and 7 grim lines for mouths. June's body shook with silent sobs. They slowed as the minutes ticked by, and eventually they stopped. So it appears that the man did indeed blow up to literal bits. Then suddenly, in the cold heavy silence that had enveloped them like a thick fog, a bell began to ring. The clock in the central hall. 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And then, on the 10th ring it stopped. The sound of the bell faded away into silence. It's 10 o'clock then. Ace said what each one of them had been thinking. That means it's been an hour since Zero's little announcement. Seven's deep voice echoed across the room. I've had enough of this crap. Santa leapt to his feet, his fist clenched. How long are we gonna stand around like this? We've only got 8 hours until this time limit Zero was going on about is up. Let's get going already. Go, go! Santa's outburst fell on deaf ears. No one seemed to agree with him. They stared back at him, their eyes blank and their faces tired. Finally, Lotus spoke. No, I refuse. I'm not going to end up like him. Him? You mean the ninth man? Of course. Who else? In his mind's eye, Junpei saw the corpse again. The dark, reddish-black pool of blood. The scattered pieces of flesh. Organs strewn across the floor like a blossoming of a grotesque flower. The explosion that had torn through his body had been powerful. The ninth man's neck had been twisted at an odd angle. Junpei suspected the detonation had thrown him against the wall. Half of his face was crushed, the other half was covered in blood. Most of his abdomen had been emptied, either by the explosion or by gravity. He had landed on his back, and stark white ribs jutted out of his chest like the legs of some sort of macabre crab. Junpei felt something flip in his stomach. I think he just screwed up. Eyebrows went up, and Santa continued. He probably set off some sort of trap that killed him. I'm not going to screw up like that. I'm getting out of here alive. Give me just a second, sorry, I need to clear my throat. Whatever Snake was laughing at, Santa did not find particularly humorous. What's so funny? Oh, my apologies. You were just so very confident. I couldn't help myself. What the... I think you've mistaken the situation. Huh? The ninth man's death. It had nothing to do with the trap, or at least not the sort of trap you might imagine it did. Then... he broke one of Zero's rules. That was why he died. Quite simple if you think about it. You still don't... Alright. How about you take a moment and think back to what Zero said? Specifically, what did he say about the number of people? He said only 3 to 5 people can pass through one number door. Right? And after that? You've forgotten the relevant part. What did Zero say? Santa furrowed his brow and thought. Junpei thought back. Zero said... let's see. Everyone who verified had to go through. This seems like another decision. I'm going to say everyone that verified had to go through, but this seems like another decision that could shape the story. All those who enter must leave, and all those who enter must contribute. Right? I think it was something like that. Whatever it was, it means that the groups of less than 3 or more than 5 can't go through. That is correct. A gold star for you, Junpei. Snake inclined his head towards Junpei. The ninth man, however, broke that rule. He tried to pass through a numbered door by himself. That was why he was executed. I was thinking about that, actually. I was thinking that... I was like, hey, wait, don't all the people have to go through? I thought there was some sort of rule about that, but I didn't think the bomb was the reason... was the repercussions of not doing it. Then Zero's watching us from somewhere. Making sure we don't break any rules. Oh, I'm not so sure of that. Why not? Because this execution system is entirely automatic. You didn't notice? There's no need for him to monitor us. What do you mean? Snake looked at Seven with what could only be described as pity and sighed. Very well. I see it must be me who tells you. I've waited long enough, I suppose. I had hoped Zero might spare me the trouble, but that seems increasingly unlikely. He couldn't see them, of course, but perhaps Snake sensed the confused eyes upon him. When Ace spoke, he gave the words to everyone else's thoughts. Do you know something? Well, I know a great many things, but yes. What is it you know? Here. Snake removed a card from the pocket of his jacket. With a flourish, he presented it to Ace, who took a close look at it and spoke. Come on now, what's the point of giving me this? Give me that. Santa snatched the card from Ace, but his expression of disgust quickly turned to one of confusion. Huh? The heck is... Seven tugged it out of Santa's hands. Heh, I see. The card went from Seven to Lotus, from Lotus to June, and finally to Junpei. He looked at it and understood. Braille? Yeah, this is Braille. Braille, the written language of the blind. The card was covered with small embossed bumps. Junpei could recognize it, but he certainly couldn't read it. Sorry guys, I can't read this. Junpei handed the card back to Snake, who nodded at him with a small smirk. Okay, that was fun. What's so important about that card? I found it in my pocket. I can only assume it is a message from Zero. From Zero? A message? What does it say? Suddenly, everyone was crowding around Snake, desperate to hear what the message said. Santa especially looked as if he were about to grab hold of Snake and shake the answers from him. Snake raised his hand. Calm down now. No need to panic. We've only got 8 hours left. You don't need to force me. I'll read it. Junpei swallowed hard and waited for him to start. He was not the only one. Presently, Snake began to read, his voice calm. His fingers glided over the tiny bumps as he spoke. Bracelet number 2. Since you are not blessed with sight, I shall bless you, and only you, with information. I shall tell you of the function of red, of the dead, and of the bracelet. The red is the recognition device. It will verify your number. Beside every number door you will find a red. The dead is the deactivation device. It does exactly what it says. Once you have passed through the numbered door, you must use the dead to stop the detonator in your bracelet. Oh, so the bracelets are bombs? But perhaps you're wondering, what does this detonator detonate? Oh no, it's detonating something else. I'm afraid this may be something of a surprise. Yeah, it's a detonator, not the bomb itself. I placed a small bomb inside of you, and the people whom you are about to meet. You swallowed it while you were unconscious. I've no doubt that by the time you read this note, the bomb will have passed your stomach and found its way to your small intestine. So, oh, wow. So everyone has a bomb in, oh wow, that's kind of diabolical. And the only way to turn it off is by deactivating it, but you can probably only deactivate it if you have the correct number of people, otherwise, I bet he tried to deactivate it and it wouldn't let him. That's what it was. In other words, you will be unable to regurgitate it. I suggest you do not try. As I mentioned before, the bracelet on your left hand contains a detonator. Think of it as a remote fuse, or timer, for the bomb in your body. There's only one condition which will cause it to detonate. That condition is that you enter a numbered door. Once you've done so, the timer will activate, no matter who you may be. You will have 81 seconds. If, after that time, the detonator has not been deactivated, it will send a signal to the bomb in your body, instructing it to explode. And that's what the beeping was. It was probably beeping warning him that it was going to explode. In order to deactivate the detonator, every person who verified their numbers at the red must also verify their numbers at the dead. Which is kind of funny considering that it's called dead. Once all numbers have been verified by the dead, you only need to pull the lever at its side and the countdown will cease. Anyone who does not verify their number at the red will find themselves unable to verify their number at the dead. That is to say, if you should pass through a numbered door without first verifying your number at the red, in 81 seconds you will be dead. Okay. So it's not the act of verifying yourself on a scanner that starts the bomb. It's the act of passing through the door is what starts the timer. But the only way that you can deactivate the timer is if you first activated in the red. Okay, I get it now. You must also keep in mind that the numbered doors will close automatically after 9 seconds have passed, which we kind of have noticed. So long as the doors open, the dead will not function. You would do well to remember this. So you could potentially screw someone over. Well, no, not quite. I feel like there's some loophole integrated with that specifically, just that little thing that it won't operate while the door's open. Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1, you escape from the ship. 2, your heart rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or detects that its wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically. There is no other way to remove your bracelet. If you attempt to force it off or disable the detonator, the bomb within you will immediately explode. Oh gosh, so maybe we shouldn't be playing with the bracelets. This is all the information which I can impart to you. How you choose to use it is for you to decide. If used wisely, you can eliminate those who might be a danger to you. For a time, you would be able to control your fate. I wish you the best of luck. So like I said, I feel like that information could have loopholes or implications to it. None that I can really piece together at the moment, but I'm sure that there is, just the way it's worded sounds like it. Snake finished reading, and carefully returned the card to his pocket. The message had been lengthy, but its meaning was clear. Only those who verified their numbers at the red could pass through the numbered doors. Teams could not increase or decrease their numbers. The reds, the deads, and the bracelet enforced the rules. They were judge, jury, and executioner. What a way to think of it. I didn't think of it like that. In defiance of Zero's suggestions, both Santa and Seven put their fingers down their throats and began to gag. The rest stiffened, some touched their stomachs, some simply stared at their bracelets. Junpei gingerly touched his stomach. There was a bomb inside his body. The thought of it made him queasy. His stomach felt oddly hollow, and his legs were weak. Why had Zero designed such a ludicrous game? Junpei looked over at the others. Alright, I'm gonna ask one more time. Do any of you know anything about Zero? They were all silent, each person waiting to hear what the others would say. Finally, Santa spoke. Actually, I saw him. I saw Zero when I got grabbed. I didn't see his face, though. Son of a... He was wearing a kind of gas mask. What the heck? Come on, guys, give me something. You know, like surprise or something? Instead, it was Santa who looked surprised. There was a moment of silence, and then everyone spoke at once. We need to stop doing this, guys. We gotta have some order. I saw him too. Me too. He was wearing a gas mask. As stories were sorted out, the truth became clear. All of their stories were the same. They had been abducted at home at midnight. The person claiming to be Zero had worn a mask. There had been a white smoke, and then each person had passed out. When they awoke, they had found themselves on D-deck in a room with a 3-level bunk bed. Only 7 stories seemed to lack the detail of the others. Oh, me? Yeah, well, mine was just like the rest of yours. Sorry about that. That was all he had said. It had occurred to Junpei at the time that it sounded somewhat strange, but he didn't press the issue. He hadn't done so because there was something that struck him as even stranger. That was the mystery of the relationship between Snake and Clover. For some reason, they had been abducted from the same room, and had woken up in the same room. Junpei looked at them, thoughtfully. So, what's the deal with the two of you anyway? It was Clover that answered. Clearly, she felt she had nothing to hide. We're siblings. You guys don't look that alike, but, yes? Snake is my older brother, obviously. That means I'm his little sister. That really so hard to understand? Junpei was taken aback. The others seemed just as surprised. She is correct, of course. He laid his hand on Clover's shoulder. Are you surprised? Well, yeah, but... Why? There are other people here with connections to one another. Sorry, I don't know what's up with it. My throat, I needed to clear it again. Maybe, and I was just thinking, as well the other day that it does seem a little odd that he would grab random people and put them in here. I'm sure these people all have something to do with one another. Possibly. I can't be for certain, but that would seem likely. Those two, for instance. Snake pointed at Junpei and June. Oh, you mean between Junpei and me? Ah, yes. You did say that you were childhood friends, didn't you? You went to school together? Yeah. June glanced at Junpei, uncomfortable with the sudden attention. Junpei felt somewhat nervous as well, and tried to scratch his head as casually as possible. Hey, you think maybe we could figure out who Zero is this way? Oh, dang it. I dropped my stylus. Hold on. Sorry, I got the stylus back. Hey, you think maybe we could figure out who Zero is this way? Yeah, you're right. You connect the dots between the victims, and that leads you to the perp. Textbook. Stuff. Junpei, June, does any of this ring a bell? Ring a bell. Ring a bell? They looked at one another. And, like it was staged, they both tilted their neck at the same time. Well, perhaps you went to school with the son of a multi-millionaire. A millionaire? Son? Well, someone bought this boat and set up all of this. Whoever Zero is, they must be incredibly rich. Well, we can't be sure of that. To me, this seems as though it's the work of an organization, not an individual. Zero is most likely simply the representative of a larger group. What sort of organization? It could be a number of things. An army, perhaps, or a research group. Perhaps this is all some sort of psychological experiment. If it is, then it's a pretty messed up experiment. I mean, come on, a guy's dead. Back to the dead guy. I do like how descriptive they were with the guy. Like, they didn't just explain it away as, there was a man and he was blown up. It was like, look at his organs and there's his bones and look his neck. You know, I kind of like that they put so much descriptive text into it to give you an idea of exactly what happened. The word dead hung in the air, heavy and ominous. The room went quiet again. I don't know who the heck this Zero guy is, but I know for sure he's got to be pretty messed up in the head to do all of this. If this was all one guy, then he's got some serious issues. Well, even if it was more than one guy, he's still got some pretty serious issues. Even with the specter of death hanging over them, their discussions continued for some time. In the end, however, they learned nothing. And they're just wasting away their time. By the time they finished, 1.5 of their 9 hours were gone. All they had to show for it was impatience. Man, look, we only got 7.5 hours left, okay? You really sure you just want to sit around? No one was willing to argue this time. Very well then. There's only one way for us to proceed. Sure not gonna be fun running around knowing we gotta jump when Zero says jump. Well, it's stupid just to sit around here doing nothing. Thanks to Snake's card, at least we have some idea of how this all works. Yeah, without Snake's card, we'd probably all be blown up or just sitting in here crying. Correct, and so long as we follow the rules, we will most likely be alright. But what? Who's going to go in which door? June looked towards the numbered doors. Oh yeah, that's right. We can't have any more than 5 people in one door. All 8 of us can't go in the same door. Then it would seem we have to split up. Wait. Lotus looked terrified. I'm telling you now, there's no way that I'm going into door 5. Come on, don't be selfish. Call me whatever the heck you want. I'm not going in there. If I'm going to have to walk through all that blood, then I'd rather stay here. And we were doing so well. Ace shook his head sadly. Sorry, but I ain't going there either. Someone else can go into door 5. Oh, Santa, not you too. Hey man, I just bought these shoes. Are you serious? You're gonna die and you cared about your stupid shoes. If you think I'm getting some creepy dude's blood all over him, you got another thing coming. That was the last straw. What the heck, man? Weren't you the one who kept saying we should get going? Yeah? Doesn't mean I wanted to go into door 5. Oh god. There was an awkward silence. Finally, 7 spoke. Fine. I'll go into door 5. I can't go in there alone, though. Anyone else willing to come with me? There was another long silence. This time, Snake was the one who was going to break it. I'll go. What? Don't worry, you'll be fine. We may part now, but I'm certain we'll meet again later. How do you know that? Because I do. That's not an answer. If you're going, I'm going too. I'm going into door 5. What am I going to do with you? There's nothing you have to do. A step forward. If I join you, the problem is solved, correct? 7 to 7. Snake is 2. And if you have Clover's 4 and my 1, the digital root will be 5. And there you go. Simple math. Oh, it works perfectly. The 4 of us can go into door 5. Wait. What about the other 4? What's their digital root gonna be? Junpei did a quick mental calculation. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei remained. The bracelet numbers were 8, 3, 6, and 5. What would their digital root be? Okay, back again. Sorry, I wanted to calculate that just to make sure I didn't get it wrong. And the digital root of this is 4. Which is convenient because the door is marked 4. He repeated what he determined. It's 4. Add up our 4 bracelet numbers, and the digital root is 4. Then we can go into door 4. Yeah, huh? That worked out well. Junpei ran over the team assignments in his head one more time. 4 people would go into door 5. 7, Snake, Clover, and Ace. 4 people would go into door 4. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei. Junpei had to ask himself if the teams were what he really wanted. Beyond door 5, door 5 was what remained of the 9th man. He never wanted to see that thing again, but something in him said it would be unwise not to examine the corpse even a little closer. Of course, if he went through the door 5, he wouldn't be going with Lotus and Santa. True, it would be possible for him to bring June with him through door 5, but that would mean she'd have to see the horrific carnage that awaited there. Junpei didn't want that. Junpei was torn. Should he stay silent and go through door 4? Or should he stop them all and insist on door 5? As he turned his options over and over in his mind, Ace spoke up. Alright then. It seems we've reached a conclusion. Shall we go? He begged to walk towards door 5, or began. Clover and Snake followed, with 7 a short distance behind. Junpei, which door do you want to go through? Okay, another decision, and I think this is a good point for us to stop, so this will be our decision for next time. So the 2 decisions here are going through door 4, we'll be able to stick with June, and we'll be able to stick with the pansy people who don't want to see the body, and, you know, that'll just be whatever. But if we went through door 5, we'd have to either leave June or take her with us, and she'd probably pass out if she did go with us. And neither of those situations sound particularly good, but it would give us the opportunity to check the body, just to see if maybe there was any clues we could find, or maybe some sort of something or another. Maybe the guy found something, because he said, oh no, you lied. And it was probably just because he couldn't deactivate his thing and he realized he was going to die. But maybe the guy has a piece of paper in his pocket, because we don't know what he has on him. Maybe he has a piece of paper in his pocket that told him that information, which is how he knew so much. So it's very tempting both ways, I gotta say. And I will think this over. If you guys by chance, if I stop on a decision like this, and and you're just curious, you have an idea, you're like, hey, just go through that door, let me know in the comments, and because I'm fairly neutral about the whole thing, as long as you don't give any backstory, like if you know what it is, as long as you don't give backstory, I'd love to just take whatever you guys suggest, make it a little more personal since it is a Let's Play, and you guys are watching, and I like to have a back and forth with people rather than just myself. Anyway, I've been rambling, but let me know what you guys think, and we will make this decision next time on 999. Bye!